Hey besties, and thank you so much for clicking on today's video. In today's video, we are going to be doing part 1 of my palette collection. I figure why not do another one at the beginning of the year because I did go a little bit crazy for Black Friday. I don't think I'll be doing another declutter, but yes, this is part 1 of the palette collection. If you want to see all the new palettes that I've added to the collection last year, definitely keep watching. I'm going to get right into it because this is probably going to be like a 30-minute video. I love you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoy. If you want me to redo the cheek products as well, because I've added a lot to that collection as well, definitely let me know. But I love you so much and enjoy, besties. Alright besties, this is the first drawer. It is definitely the least intimidating of the 2 drawers I'm going to show you. So let's go ahead and go through this one. These are my Pat McGrath Celestial Odyssey palettes. I actually have 2 of these because they sent me one and one of the shades was broken. So they were kind enough to send me out another. And this is the one that is all together, and I'm going to pay really close attention to the focus in this video. That seems to be an issue with my collection video, so I want to make sure that you guys can really see all of these palettes, and I'm going to just pay really close attention to that. But this is the Celestial Odyssey Pat McGrath Holiday 2021 palette. I think the quality in this is amazing. You don't get any of those like special shades that she does have in others, which I'm really excited to try out probably this year. But you get these really beautiful, just full opaque shimmers that are just really beautiful. I love this color story because you could look at it and see a holiday palette, of course, with the greens, with the gold, with the silver, with all that, but then you see these pinky, rosy tones, browns, so it could be a really good all year round palette as well, and I just think you can't go wrong with this palette. Now it is a little bit more on the pricey side, so it might hurt the bank account a little bit. I would definitely suggest getting it on a sale if you do not have the money, because a lot of us do not have the money for it. And I don't know if you guys would like to see the broken one, but this is what she looks like, you guys, and I'm gonna go ahead and clean it up and then gift it to my friend, which I know seems bad, but she knows it's broken and she still wants it because it's Pat. So this next palette is the Nudie 2 palette from Laura Lee Los Angeles. It really gives me like KKW vibes with the packaging. I've said that before. And this is what the color story looks like. If you guys can't tell, I'm very into like pinky, burgundy, maroon shades and like eye looks. And I think that this is a really beautiful palette because you could either go like the brown route or you could go with a burgundy, pinky toned eye look, and I just think that this palette does a really good job of incorporating different shades to where you could make several different eye looks and you won't get bored with it very easily. So I actually really love this palette and the quality, and I think this year I will play with more Laura Lee Los Angeles products because this is actually really good. Next palette I have is the Rem Beauty or Rem Beauty palette. This is the Midnight Snack one. This is a new brand, obviously, from Ariana, and I think that this palette actually is very cute. I like that it's cool tone, but it's one of those cool tone palettes that I could see myself reaching for over and over and over again, and I really, really love the tones of the shimmers that she did choose here because I wouldn't usually go for them, especially this one right here, and I just think she did a good job. I actually really do like this. You're not going to get full opaqueness with these right away, which is sometimes what I prefer in eyeshadows, when I can actually just blend them out and add in, opposed to just like having full pigmentation and then having to blend it all out and it being crazy. So yeah, I like this one. The packaging, I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. What do you guys think? Moving on to my Artist Couture palettes. This one is called the Midnight Moon one. That's so cute because the other one was Midnight Snack, but this is what she looks like. I actually really, really enjoy this color story, but it is a bit intimidating, I will not even lie. I don't reach for this one a ton, and if I'm thinking about it, maybe I should have decluttered it in the last declutter video. I want to make sure this focuses. Come on with the focus. There we go. Maybe I should have decluttered it. It's such good quality, and I think I was holding on to it because I didn't have anything else from Artist Couture until this last year. This is the Supreme Nudes, the Quickie Artist Couture palette. This is definitely more up my alley these days. I think that this packaging is really, really beautiful. They have a different Supreme Nudes palette that is bigger than this one, and I would love to try that as well because the quality of this palette is really, really beautiful. And those neutral shimmers I love them because they're just a little bit different. Like, I don't know if you can tell in the pan, but they're not your average neutral shimmers. There's something unique about those, and I do have a review up on my channel using this one if you guys are interested, because I really did eat these shades up, and I loved the eye look that I got with this palette. I think it's a perfect travel palette, honestly. Moving on to my one and only Nars Climax palette, you guys. I have been loving this. This is what the color story is looking like. This is like the perfect fall, perfect celebration holiday palette to me, and it's amazing for travel. I love this palette, from the packaging to the inside colors. I really talked about it a little bit more in one of my recent videos of just how I think it's very unique too, because I think it would definitely help some people that are struggling with adding color to their eye looks without having it look too much, you know, because you have these muted, colorful blue and greens, and then you also have these beautiful frosty shades. And then you also have these beautiful neutral shimmers as well, along with neutral and colorful mattes. I just think you can't go wrong with this, and I've been using it non-stop, you guys. I love this one. The next one I have is the Dominique Cosmetic Unconditional palette. This is what the packaging looks like, really pretty. And then you open it up, and this is what the color story is looking like. I feel like on camera and even a little bit in person, some of these shades look like they might be ashy or just like really, really light, when in reality, when you put them on your eyes, they are so much darker than they look in the pan. And at first I was going to poop on this palette because I really did think it wasn't going to be inclusive to everyone, because I just thought the shades were going to be so light and it just wasn't going to be a fun time. But when you put this on your eyes, it's actually really beautiful, and it does have good pigment. And I love that shimmery shade down there, that glittery one. Very beautiful palette. This is the Dominique Cosmetics Latte palette. First one I ever got, and I love this one. I love that they did the purple and the blue incorporation. I feel like a lot of times when a palette is neutral, they do add a blue usually, never really a purple, so I do like that she did this. But yeah, I do reach in this one pretty often when I just want to do like a neutral cut crease, and it never really fails me. This one is her berries and cream one, and like you would guess, it does have some burgundy tones, some blues. You know, berries can be blue, purple, pink, colors like that. I do think this is really cute, but if I'm honest, this is one of them that I don't actually reach for as much as the others, but I do think it's a beautiful color story. So maybe for this year I can make that a kind of like, I don't want to say like a resolution or something, but I can make that a mental note in my head to use it more because it really is stunning. The next one we have is called Rustic Glam. I think the packaging on this is really cute and different. And then we open it up, and this is what the shades are looking like. Guys, I actually get a lot of use out of this palette. I love and somehow always go in with that green shade and the gold. Let me let this focus a little bit better. There we go. Yeah, and I really, really love that green and that goldy green shade. I go into them a ton. Like every time I use this palette, also that blue and that pink right here, I use a ton. And I probably should try to play with the other shades in here, but I just really, really end up going with this area and then this area right here a lot. But yeah, beautiful, 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 different and unique color story here. Definitely a really good one to pick up for sure. Moving on to Celestial Storm. I think this one is also very beautiful. It gives me the Artist Couture vibes, the one I'm not using a lot. And I'm not using this one a ton either, if I'm being honest. I definitely should though. I'm trying to get it to like focus. There we go. Is that focused? Okay, yeah. I think it's gorgeous. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful incorporation of shades here. The quality is really, really beautiful. This shade right here, the formula is different than a lot of palettes I have tried, the shimmers, because it's like a topper. But you guys, I'm just not reaching for this one either very much, and it is beautiful. Like, it really is. Maybe I'll play with it in some of my TikToks this week, because it definitely is beautiful and it should be used. This is the Metropolis Mini. I don't have the full-size Metropolis. Girl, that's expensive. But this one right here was, I think, like 25 bucks. And this is what she looks like. I think this is a stunning palette. I think it's a perfect holiday travel palette as well. The only thing I will say with this palette is, you know, I don't see myself being able to create more than like three-ish looks with it, you know what I'm saying? So that's just what's going to happen sometimes when you do have a 5 pan palette. But it is a really beautiful holiday occasion palette that I think I've been using quite a bit in my videos and also just every day. So I actually really, really love this one, and I definitely have gotten my money's worth already and will continue to do so. This one is the Mini Biba, definitely a more rosy nude color story. I think it is very beautiful. If you guys like rosy neutral palettes, you'll definitely like this one. Again, I don't have the regular Biba because that's expensive, but I do have this one and I do really, really love it. And I do find that it is worth it, in my opinion, for $25 as well. This one is a bigger 5-pan one. This is the Ayana palette. I got this in a BoxyCharm and I actually do really like it. Now I feel like for whatever reason, I feel the minis are a little bit more blendable, and I could be crazy with that. Let me know down below what you feel, if you do have the regular smaller ones and then the minis. If you feel like there's a difference in formula, I just feel like I have to blend these out a little bit longer. But nonetheless, I really do enjoy this palette for everyday wear, and I think it would probably make a good staple in your collection. This one is the Natasha Denona Love palette. Looks like this. You open her up, and I definitely do think this is a romantic palette for sure. You know what? I really want to try the retro one as well, and if you've tried that one, definitely let me know your thoughts, because I feel like the colors aren't like the same for sure, but I do see some similar tones in there, so definitely let me know which one you guys prefer if you have both. But I think this color story is beautiful, very romantic. I think she's actually coming out with a smaller palette for Valentine's Day that is kind of like similar colors to this, but like just like small, you know. But I think this is a really beautiful palette. I think that the shimmers in here are gorgeous. I've made like 2 or 3 looks with this already. Let me know if you want a video on it. But so far so good. Definitely, definitely, definitely very versatile. You can make a lot of different looks with this, with a different tone and a different twist, and I don't know, the quality is really good. These blend out amazing, the mattes, and I can't get enough of these. Next up is the Natasha Denona Sunrise palette. I've known that I wanted this one for a really long time, and I finally got it, and it's beautiful. I think it's very, very beautiful. I haven't really used this other than like one time, but I did like the look that I did create, if that's worth anything. I just haven't been reaching for it other than the first time that I used it, but it does have some beautiful tones in there, and I think that I'll probably wear this a little bit more this year for sure, just to get a better feel of the product. Definitely using the Love one a little bit more though, just so you guys are aware. The next palette I have is the Zendo palette. Ew, look at all the finger marks. It's the Zendo palette, you guys, and this is what the color story looks like. You know what? I haven't used this yet, but I'm excited to. I think that there's some beautiful tones in here. I think that it's going to be a very, very different Natasha Denona palette than any of the ones that I have, so I'm excited to see how she does color, and yeah, I'm kind of excited to play with this one this year. Next up are my Dose of Colors babies. These two are fairly new to my collection. This one is the Cutting Edge. I got this for Black Friday, and I don't know, I just love green eyeshadow for some reason, so I'm super excited to get a chance to dive into this one. But I'm a little bit more excited for this one here, which is the Smoky Soiree. It looks like this, and I just think this is a smoky eyeshadow lover's dream. And I don't know, I just feel like Dose of Colors formula is really amazing, so I'm so excited to try this one out as well. So excited to go into this shade, oh my goodness. And yeah, I definitely think this is a beautiful, beautiful color story. Hey besties, I just had to get a little bit of coffee, give me a little bit more energy. These are always such long videos to post or to record, and then you're on your knees and you just need to walk a little bit in between. Of course, we have the Dose of Colors Desi and Katie Francation. The quality is amazing. I just have not been using it. Ooh, I would love to dip into this shade though sometime, you know, this week or this month, because it's a beautiful shade that I don't even think I've used ever, and it looks gorgeous. So maybe I will dip into this one. The next one is the I Love Sarahi, and I'm pretty sure it's broken. Yep. So there's that. I need to clean it up and fix it. This is the reason I haven't been touching this one, just because I've been too lazy to fix it. But I love this one as well. Marvelous Mauves, which is a mauve lover's dream for travel. Beautiful. I love these palettes, just how slim and sleek they are. They're perfect for travel, like I said. And you cannot go wrong with this palette if you guys truly are a lover of mauve tones. It's just beautiful, and you can come up with some beautiful gradients with this palette. These two palettes are my new Glam Light palettes. This is the Cherry palette, and this is the Raspberry one from the Icy collection. I will show you the insides. This is the Cherry one, and then this is the Blue Raspberry. That's beautiful. Beautiful blue palette. Now we have our Manny MUA, or sorry, Lunar Beauty palettes. This one is gorgeous, and I believe someone said that this one you can't get anymore, but it is called the Greek Goddess palette. If you guys can ever pick this one up, definitely do yourself a favor and do. It is one of my favorite everyday neutral tone palettes for sure. The quality in here is amazing, and I just don't think you can go wrong with this palette at all. Beautiful. The next one is the Moonspell Volume 1. Let me back it up. This is the Moonspell Volume 1, and this is what the shades look like in this specific palette. This was like a holiday release, and I definitely understand why. This gives me very, very grunge. I actually really love the colors in here though, but I do find myself gravitating towards this palette during the October month more than any other month. Get really close so you guys can see those shades. Oh, so beautiful. People were saying they loved the purple and the pinks in that palette, and they wanted a full-on red, purple, pink palette. So he delivered, and this is what the Volume 2 looks like. Just a beautifully created palette, and I cannot get enough of this one. This, like last year, I had to force myself to put it down because I was just using it way too much and neglecting my other babies in my collection, and that is how you can really tell, like I said in the other video of my top 10 palettes, that's how you can tell when you are really loving a palette, is when it's the only one you're reaching for. This is the Strawberry Dream palette from Lunar Beauty, and you guys, the quality of these shades is actually really good, so I don't know why I haven't been reaching for this one. I think it's just because I have been playing with so much new makeup that sometimes unintentionally you neglect your older but good babies, so I have to stop doing that. But this is an amazing palette, and I don't think you'd be disappointed with this one at all, except for the blues are not my favorite in this specific palette. Everything else though I loved. Next palette is the Naked Honey palette from Urban Decay. You guys, I've been waiting for Urban Decay to really amaze me like they did when they came out with this specific palette. I remember when it came out, I was like, oh, that's the one. Like, that is the one that I think is actually going to be worth the money from Urban Decay, because to be honest, for a while there, they were slacking and they came out with this one and I was like obsessed, and I still am obsessed. But Urban Decay, like, redo this with a different shade or something. Do greens or something. I don't know. Do something, you know what I'm saying? Because this was amazing. This was a great take on yellow. That's not just like yellow in your face, like too intimidating. This is just really beautiful, a really lovely take, and I wish they would make another palette like this. Do like green, or do like blue, purple, pink. Do like, I don't know, orange. Do something, because this is a good idea here. Here is the Poison Ivy palette. You know, my nose is so stuffy, so if it sounds like that now, I'm so sorry. But this is the Poison Ivy palette from Milan Row with doodles by the bunny, and this is what she looks like. I genuinely feel like this is a green lover's dream. Like, you guys see this? I will say the mattes in here are not my favorite for sure. Like, they're just a little bit more on the powdery side, which is fine, but it's a little bit intense, I'm not gonna lie. Now the shimmers here, chef's kiss, beautiful, very unique undertones in my opinion, because you have like this gold right here that it just has this undertone of green if you move it in different ways. A lot of these are like that. This one is gold, but it has a very unique green shift. I just think this palette is beautiful. I do like the other matte shades, just the green ones did not really wow me. So definitely love the shimmers more than anything in this palette. Moving on to our Huda Beauty palettes. This is a Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette, and you know what? I'm not the biggest fan of this one, which is so funny because I think they sold this for like 10 bucks for Black Friday and everyone was going crazy. And I was just kind of like, no. Like, I'm sorry, I wouldn't even pay, because if you know something isn't good quality for $10, why would you buy it? Like, why would, I mean, I guess there's some shades in here that I don't hate, but when you have palettes like this one right here from ColourPop that is just so beautiful, so elegant, such good quality, why wouldn't you just take your $10 and spend it on something like this? This is from the other drawer, by the way. But, you know, if something doesn't work, and I know it doesn't work, and I've heard bad things about it, then I'm not going to pick something up just because it is $10. This one is the Nude Huda Beauty palette. I love this one so much. I have to say I'm not really reaching for it a lot, which is unfortunate because this is one of my favorites from her. I love this one. I would wear this one at one of my old jobs like every single day because it was just so easy. You just blend it in effortlessly and you just get a really beautiful look every time. You can switch it up between the shimmery shades, which are really unique. And I don't know, it's just like fun and fresh, and I loved using it for work. And I got a lot of compliments when I used this one. This one is the Mercury Retrograde, which is still my favorite. It looks like this. I love how many different looks I've been able to achieve with this palette. Sometimes I'll go for like the turquoise tealish kind of look. Sometimes I'll play with this shade right here called Nebula, and I get a really gorgeous, stunning, unique look on the eyes. Sometimes I'll just play with the pinky and burgundy shades, and that's a vibe as well. Sometimes I'll play with like the goldy champagne shades. Like, I just do a lot with this, and I feel like it leaves a lot of room for creativity, and I think that some of the palettes you're not exactly getting your money worth, but this one you definitely are, from the packaging to the actual inside to the different textures. And yeah, I just love this one. I feel like you guys definitely know what this one is by now. This is the Rose Quartz palette. Oh my gosh, the packaging gets me every time with this one. So beautiful. And this is the inside. Visually, I thought this one would end up being my favorite one, but because some of these shades are a little bit on the chalkier side and a little bit like sheer, where I wanted them to be more opaque as far as the shimmers go, It's not my favorite, but it's definitely very, very beautiful, and I do find myself reaching for it. And again, with that versatility, you can find a lot of different looks in this palette. I also don't really like this shade right here, which is just like this weird gel-like feel. I don't really like that one, but this one right here is super sheer, super chalky. You don't get any pigment from it at all. But there are shades like this one right here, or that one, or this one, where you do get a big, big color payoff. So I do enjoy this one. And then moving on to the minis, which I'm really surprised I didn't pick up any of her minis from last year, but I'll just zoom through these. This one is the sapphire one. It looks like this. The quality on this is okay. The emerald one, which is one of my favorites, actually. It probably is my favorite out of all of these. I actually really do enjoy the shimmers here. The mattes are okay, and I actually do get some use out of this one. This one is the amethyst one, and it's a beautiful 9 pan. I keep it around for the shimmers. Genuinely, the mattes could use some work. The mattes could definitely use some work here. Let me try to get it to focus. There we go. That's what it looks like. You see those shimmers. They're just stunning. Very fairy-esque in my opinion. This one is the neon Huda Beauty one, the green one. And I really do love this one, but I will say I wish that the matte shades went a little bit deeper. I do understand it's supposed to be neon though, so that's kind of what you're asking for, but I did want just like one deep green in here. And then we have the neon pink one, which looks like this, and then you open her up, and this is honestly my favorite one out of all the ones that I do own, because I just think the colors here are beautiful. Again, with the shimmer texture, I love Huda Beauty's texture when it comes to shimmers. I just think you really can't go wrong, and I've used this so often, you guys. It is really one of my favorites. This is the Smoke Sessions palette from Melt Cosmetics, and I kind of want to try more from them this year. But you guys, I do want to show you, I think I've said before, but I typically use all of these shades, whereas I never touch these shades over here. But the quality is so good that I think this year I definitely want to play with this side over here and give my thoughts on that, because this is a really beautiful palette. This is the Laura Geller, the Casual Collection palette. Got this in a BoxyCharm. One of the only palettes I've gotten in BoxyCharms and really find myself going into quite a bit. I love these shades here and here. I think they're gorgeous and very unique. Even this one as well. And I don't know, you just get a really beautiful look without having to try that hard, which is one of my favorite things when it comes to palettes, especially neutral palettes. Like, neutral palettes should never be difficult as far as like pigmentation, quality, longevity, all that, and this one definitely isn't. I get a very good look that lasts all day every time I use this. It looks pretty light on camera. It is a little bit darker in person, I will tell you, and I can't get enough of this one. This is another BoxyCharm palette that I ended up really liking. It's the Electric Eyes palette, and I only like it because the quality of these is amazing in that you can literally swatch a little bit of it and it will go on forever and ever and ever. Like, I know you guys see that. This is a beautiful palette for if I have a matte palette, but I want a pop of shimmer, you know what I'm saying? So I'll always keep this one around. And do you guys see that? Like, that is gorgeous. This is the Makeup Geek palette with Manny MUA. And then we have the Butter London Natural Goddess palette right here, which is a beautiful everyday palette as well. I actually just used this one like really recently, and I wasn't mad at it. There we go. Sometimes you gotta play with like the lighting and the angles to get a good focus. And then touching on the two chocolate bar palettes that I do have, I decluttered like most of them from my declutter video that I do have up. This is the Chocolate Gold palette. Love this one. And the inside is just very beautiful. It's one of the only palettes that I reach for when it comes to Too Faced, because even the other one that I do have, I don't really reach for, but I do plan on trying it out at least this year. And this is the White Chocolate Bar palette. It of course smells like chocolate like the other one, and this is the color story on that. And I don't know, maybe it'll be a little bit more promising than the other ones that I have tried. I feel so bad saying that, but yeah, I'm excited to try it. And then let's go through the Jeffree Star palettes that I own before we do go through Anastasia, because as you guys can see, we have a lot of Anastasia. This is the Blue Blood palette. I think it is a really beautiful take on blue. For example, if you look at the Glam Light palette that I showed you guys earlier, the blue raspberry, I feel like that one straight up is just all blues. I mean, it is, not even I feel like it is. Whereas this one gives you blues and then some other cool tones, you know what I'm saying? So that you can kind of work it in very easily and seamlessly and definitely not be scared to play with it. Whereas this one definitely does give you that, and so that's just something that I do prefer with this blue toned palette. If you guys have any other recommendations for blue tone palettes that aren't going to be too overwhelming, definitely leave that down below as well, because I'm always curious. And then this is the Blood Sugar palette, which you guys, I don't think I've used this like not a once, and I've had it for years. So this is what it looks like. You can tell I haven't used it at all, but it is really pretty. I don't know. Again, so this is like a redder tone palette, but really you only have like a few reddy, burgundy-ish shades, you know what I'm saying? And we have the Jawbreaker palette, which obviously is definitely going to be a more colorful tone palette. The quality in here is really, really good. I just hate how powdery some of these shades are, because then it gets into your other, you know, your other pans, and that, like, to me, stresses me out, and it makes me not want to use this palette. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, do you guys see that in this? Ugh. This first palette is the Norvina Volume 3 ABH palette. This one always gives me very, like, bright vibes, very, like, foresty garden vibes, very like fairy vibes. I enjoy this one. I feel like some of the greens in here like aren't my favorite, just because like they don't layer on as much as I would want them to, like as well as I would want them to. And I have a couple of videos on my TikTok where I use this, and I think you could see what I was talking about. They're not bad though. It's just that sometimes they don't layer down how I want. But the shimmers are like so beautiful, and the other shades in here, chef's kiss. The oranges, stop it. Like, this is such a beautiful color story. You get such a beautiful look every time you use this. I love that like they incorporate this color right here too, because I wouldn't think to put this color with these types of shades as well, but it actually goes really well, and it makes, you know, a green look or like an orange look a little bit different and unique. And I just think that these are really beautiful palettes that surprisingly, even with the size, don't overwhelm me. Like the Morphe ones, sometimes those can overwhelm me. This one doesn't, so I love that. This one is the Volume 2 palette, which is a very, you guessed it, blue toned, green toned palette. Well, really like way more blue than green, but this is what it looks like. And this one, I do really, really like it, but I do find myself getting a little bit more like overwhelmed with this one and this color story than the Volume 3. Nothing wrong with it. Like, I do really, really enjoy it. It just is a little bit more intimidating. But, ooh, the looks I've made with this one have been some of my favorites. I will have to tell you that. So it is definitely worth it to pick up. It's just, ooh, it takes me a minute to figure out what I'm about to do. And then we have the Volume 1, which is a purple toned. I love purple tones. And this is what it looks like. I just think if you like purple, pinks, oranges, reds, you'll like this. Kind of similar to like the Manny MUA one. Not really, okay, because you have like the red, blue, all that. But I think that if you enjoy that one, you probably will also enjoy this one. Starting with the Soft Glam one. If you're doing any type of bridal look, everyday look, this one will be your best friend, because you really have everything that you need. Staple product. I feel like so many people talk about this one. I'm not going to talk about this one too much, but definitely one of my top favorites for sure. Jackie. If you like Jackie Aina, if you like the ABH formula, you should pick this one up immediately. Like, run, don't walk. This one is gorgeous. This one is a little bit more like on the deeper side, which I love. And it's just such a standalone palette. I always say that I don't even have to talk about this one because I feel like the color story alone says enough. It is just gorgeous. The formula of the shimmers, the mattes, everything is just beautiful. Anytime I use this palette, I feel beautiful, and there's a lot of variation there. This is the Sultry palette, and it was a gift from my girlfriend. I don't want to be wrong, but I think someone said you can't pick this one up anymore. So I'm going to quickly just show you it and move on because I always feel bad when you guys can't like pick up something I'm talking about. Then we have the controversial Subculture palette, which looks like this. I've always thought she was very beautiful, very different and unique. Like when this palette came out years ago, I think it was very, very unique to what we've seen on the makeup market. So it was very sad when a lot of people did not like the quality. They couldn't get it to like blend for them, or they got way too much pigment too quick. That's really not like my favorite formula, is when it's like super duper pigmented, but I feel like if you go on with like just a little, you can definitely get it to work for you, and I think it's worth it with this color story. This one is the Modern Renaissance, and you guys, I'm never really going to get rid of this one just because it has some significance to me. It's one of the only palettes I've ever hit pan on. Maybe the only one. Like, have we seen any other palettes I've showed you that I've hit pan? I don't know. But I used the S word out of this one, you guys. I just love this one. The berries, the nudes. When this came out, oh my gosh. It was so iconic, and you know, it still is. I haven't used it in like forever, but you know, if I didn't have such a vast collection, I'm sure that I still would, and it's just really beautiful, you guys. This is the Riviera palette from Anastasia, one that I'm like not using a ton. It's more of like a summery palette, so we'll see if this summer I crack it open. But some beautiful colorful shades there. This one, don't get mad at me. Please don't get mad at me, but I said I was going to declutter it, and I just couldn't do it. I really just couldn't do it. I love this color story. It's a little bit different for me, but something about it makes me want to like love it. So I just couldn't give it away, you guys. I still want to try to make it work. We have the Alyssa Edwards palette, which I literally just got in support of Alyssa Edwards. I never use this like ever. It's obvious, but maybe I should. Should I do like a look with it on my channel? I don't know, maybe. It is beautiful. And then we have the Norvina palette, which, oh my gosh, one of my favorite purple tone, it's really not, palettes. I mean, this one is just like a girly dream in my opinion. The shimmers here are some of my favorites. Oh, every time I use this palette and use that shade Wild Child, I just feel pretty. The looks that I have done, I have just been in love with. And I think that if you're looking at any of these palettes, I would definitely recommend this one. I love this one, and the Jackie one, and the Soft Glam one. There's so much that I really like, but those ones specifically really get a lot of use out of me. And that's it, besties. Thank you so much for watching part 1. Stay tuned for part 2 and a lot of other new content this month. I love you. Bye!